To the Chinese, he was a barbarian scourge from the wastelands. To Europeans, a demonic figure leading a detestable nation of Satan. But to history, Genghis Khan remains one of the most formidable warlords the world has ever known. Born around 1162 AD, he was originally named Temujin, after a defeated Tatar chieftain. He belonged to the Borjigin tribe, a noble Mongol clan descended from the great Kabul Khan, who once united the Mongol tribes against the Jin dynasty of China. From birth, Temujin was marked for greatness. According to Mongol belief, the blood clot in his hand at birth was a sign of a destined leader. But the path to leadership would not be easy. At just 9 years old, Temujin's father was poisoned by a rival tribe while returning from arranging Temujin's future marriage. The young boy's claim to his father's leadership was rejected by his tribe, leaving his family ostracized and struggling to survive. The betrayal and hardship hardened Temujin. In a dispute over hunting spoils, he killed his half-brother, asserting dominance over his family. He had learned early that Mongol life revolved around strength and that power was earned through blood. At 16, Temujin married Borte, the woman to whom he'd been betrothed as a child. Their marriage solidified an alliance, but not long after, Borte was kidnapped by a rival tribe. With help from his blood brother Jamuka and mentor Togrul, Temujin rescued her. Though she later gave birth to Jochi, whose paternity was disputed, Temujin accepted the child as his own. Temujin's rise was not without setbacks. At 20, he was captured by the Taichiut, former allies of his family and enslaved. But his spirit proved unbreakable, and with the help of a sympathetic jailer, he escaped. This daring act boosted his legend, and he began gathering loyal followers, men he trusted deeply, many of whom would form the core of his future army. Temujin had a vision, the end of tribal infighting. He knew that the Mongols could never become powerful as long as they were divided. One by one, he began to unite the tribes, by negotiation when possible, but often through ruthless force. His first major act of vengeance came when he defeated the Tartars, who had murdered his father. To prevent future resistance, he ordered every Tatar male taller than the axle of a cart to be executed. Children were spared and raised as loyal subjects. Next, he took on the Taichiut, who had enslaved him. His cavalry overwhelmed them, and the Taichiut chieftains were boiled alive in revenge. His most difficult challenge came against the Naiman, a powerful tribe blocking his route to unifying Mongolia. Their defeat cemented his control over central and eastern Mongolia, more than any Khan had held in generations.
His agents also served as assassins, quietly eliminating key rival commanders. Technologically adaptive, Temujin incorporated innovations from conquered enemies. His army adopted stronger, longer-range bows and used sophisticated systems for battlefield communication, drums, flags, and even smoke signals to coordinate maneuvers in real time. The Mongol warrior under Genghis was a highly trained, multi-skilled fighter. Every soldier was an expert rider capable of guiding a horse with their legs alone, freeing their hands for combat. Typical gear included a bow, arrows, javelin, sword, shield, and a lasso. Some carried body armor made of hardened leather and hooked lances to dismount enemies. Logistics were equally crucial. Genghis's armies traveled with ox-drawn carts of supplies, medical shamans, and record keepers to catalog loot. Morale was sustained through a mix of spiritual guidance and strict discipline. By the early 1200s, Temujin had successfully united the major Mongol tribes. In 1206, they declared him Genghis Khan, meaning universal ruler. A revered shaman claimed that Genghis was the divine representative of Manka Koko Tengri, the eternal blue sky, the supreme deity of the Mongols. With divine status came divine mission, world conquest. His first major target was the Xizha kingdom in northwestern China, which surrendered after 2 years of fighting. He then turned to the powerful Jin dynasty of northern China. The campaign against them would last 2 decades and mark one of Genghis's most drawn-out conflicts. While campaigning in China, Genghis's attention shifted westward. He had tried to establish diplomatic relations with the Khwarezm dynasty, a Turkish empire covering Persia, Afghanistan, and Central Asia. However, the governor of Otrar attacked and killed a Mongol trade caravan, claiming they were spies. Genghis sent envoys demanding justice. Instead, the Sultan executed the lead diplomat and humiliated the others. This insult sparked one of the most brutal retaliations in history. In 1219, Genghis led an army of 200,000 into Khwarezm territory. City after city was annihilated. Survivors were forced to march ahead of Mongol armies as human shields during sieges. Everything, people, livestock, even pets, was slaughtered. By 1221, the Khwarezm Empire had ceased to exist. This western conquest brought the Mongols into Eastern Europe, setting the stage for a future expansion that would stretch to the gates of Vienna. Despite his fearsome reputation, Genghis Khan was also a visionary statesman. He established law and order across vast regions long plagued by warlords and local feuds. His code of laws, the Yasa, emphasized loyalty, honesty, environmental responsibility, and personal honor. It forbade adultery, theft, and blood feuds, and encouraged unity and discipline among soldiers. His policies promoted meritocracy over nobility. Promotions in government and the military were based not on family lineage or ethnicity,
but on competence. Even non-Mongols could rise to high rank if they proved worthy. He was also remarkably progressive for his time. Genghis granted religious freedom across his empire and exempted religious institutions from taxation, policies that wouldn't appear in many Western societies for centuries. Temples, mosques, and churches alike were protected, and religious leaders were often invited to his court. To bind his empire, Genghis created an impressive communication network. The Yam system, a relay of mounted couriers, could deliver messages across thousands of miles at incredible speed. This made administrative control of his massive realm possible, and even allowed trade and information to flow between distant lands, from Europe to China. Genghis Khan died in 1227 under mysterious circumstances. Some believe he succumbed to injuries. Others suggest illness. True to tradition, his burial site was kept secret. His funeral party reportedly killed anyone who witnessed their procession, and legend has it that a river was diverted to conceal his grave. After his death, his empire continued to expand under his descendants, especially his son Ogedei. The Mongol hordes pushed deep into Europe, only turning back after Ogedei's death forced a leadership succession. Europe had narrowly escaped what might have been a full Mongol conquest. Yet what if they hadn't? Some historians argue that Europe, under Mongol rule, might have benefited from the order, infrastructure, and tolerance that Genghis brought to Asia. The Mongol Empire, though short-lived, forged connections between East and West, laying the groundwork for global trade and cultural exchange centuries ahead of its time. Though feared as a conqueror, Genghis Khan's legacy is more complex. He built one of the largest contiguous empires in human history, and did so not only through conquest, but also through innovation, meritocracy, and a surprisingly forward-thinking approach to governance. His empire wouldn't last as long as Rome's, but its impact, militarily, culturally, and politically, reshaped the world. If you like the video, do subscribe and hit the bell icon